Lexus presents tennis on Sky Sports.
Well, he's through, and that is the main positive. It was uncomfortable, it was difficult, it was awkward, Laura, but the main thing, the key thing, is he's into the second round. He got the win.
He did, and you know, all things considered, I think you'd take that in 3 hours, just over, but in terms of energy, it didn't look like he was gassed by the end of it. Of course, it was tricky at times, and Gomez threw absolutely everything at him. It just came up with some outrageous shots towards the end of the third in particular, but then Jack just backed himself. He didn't panic when the moment got tough, and you know, left the court at the end of the third, but it took a moment to breathe, came back with some renewed energy, and yeah, we kept hearing the voice of James Trotman saying energy, but I don't think he needed the reminder today almost, because he kept telling himself the exact same thing almost between every point, and we'd see it on the changeover as well. So the fans are happy, catching a few balls, and Jack can be very happy that he's through to the second round after what was a pretty long layover with the arm injury.
And he said that he's not putting too much pressure on himself. He doesn't have too many expectations, and possibly maybe he's just saying that because that's what you say, or possibly it is because of the arm and because of the fact that he hadn't played in 50 odd days.
Well, you don't know when. Well, you basically don't know how your body's going to pull up as well. I think that's always the question mark. Of course, you can practice as much as you like, but you know, when you go for 50 straight serves in a row in a match environment with that intensity, and you're trying to nail down 125 each time, then it's going to be difficult, and all of a sudden you start thinking more about the first serve percentages and all this other stuff that you don't necessarily notice so much in practice. So yeah, I think the expectations probably quite low, and then maybe surprised himself at times with how well he was playing and how well he was moving in particular, but then other times you can see that there was the lack of match sharpness as well. But I think a bit of a mixed bag, as the guys in comms were saying, but a win's a win.
Yeah, a win is a win. He's through to the second round. You may have heard a little bit of cheering there. That's because we've been joined by Martina in the studio. How are you, Martina?
I'm great. It's nice and warm here. I was inside, and it's
cold inside, isn't it?
We look like we're dressed for 3 different climates.
I know.
Right now.
Well, I'm quite wintry as well. You're dressed for the right climate.
I get cold easily, but yeah, now it's not.
Now it's perfect. Oh, you're freezing.
I know.
It's absolutely freezing.
Anyhow, it's all good.
In terms of
Jack was hot though.
He was by the end. I mean, so as we were saying, it's about getting through. It's about getting the win.
Exactly, and I think the lack of play did show, and he was the better player. That's why, because he hadn't played enough, lost that third set because he didn't play those big points a little bit better. But overall, put himself in position and was aggressive. He hit the right shots, just a little rusty, but he played his way into, as we thought, would play into form. And this guy played well. He was a tough opponent, so it wasn't.
But he had nothing to lose, right? He had no pressure on himself, and then you can have a free swing at it. You can absolutely start nailing first balls because you're the underdog, and it just in a way makes it that much harder for Jack to play that first round against someone who he's so expected to beat, because then all of a sudden it's like very different mentalities on either side of the net, right?
Exactly.
And we talk about how difficult it is to face a qualifier because they've had the 3 matches. They're sort of up and ready to go.
I know I never like to play qualifier in the first round. Second round, no big deal. But first round, they already had hits on this court. You know, get the feel for it, the climate, all of that, because you come from somewhere else. That's everything's different. And they had to win 3 matches, so they're playing good tennis for themselves. So obviously, and that was the case today. The guy was swinging for the fences, and he had 3 matches in like 4 days. So match tough, but fresh, and nothing to lose, as Laura said. So.
And as we were saying, in terms of Jack and his fitness and the arm, it's very difficult to tell in practice. It's what happens in a match situation when you have those stresses that you can only get in a match situation.
Yeah, and I think if it held up here, then it should be okay the rest of the tournament. I think if you have a niggly injury and you play the first match and you stretch, which he was, but it still holds up and maybe even gets better, which is a possibility as well because it warms up. So that's a good sign that he looked better at the end of the match than at the beginning.
Yeah, the key thing was that he got that win.
The main focus that we had today was how Jack's first serve was going to be holding up with the arm injury coming into the tournament. And if we look at the first serve speeds, they were down compared to the average speed for the season, which to me makes the placement that much more important. Where you're trying to go for the first serve, we saw a lot of the lefty patterns, and then especially on this ad side, when he was getting it moving, and really getting his opponent out on the stretch, and then the +1 shot with the forehand just makes it so much easier. At this point of the first set, he'd yet to lose a point on his first serve, which makes it very, very tough for his opponent. And just to kind of see it in action, because I think it's always worth having a look at where his opponent's making the return from. You see the contact point there, and how much he has to then cover. So at one point, Gomez was covering over 9 meters of court after the return position. So even if he makes that +2 shot, the shot after the return, it's just a wide open court for Jack Draper to work with. So I think it's those simple patterns when you're trying to feel your way back into things, you're trying to get that match rhythm back, you just have to play to your strengths. And for him, I think in everyone's mind, it's the serve and first ball, right?
More so than ever before. They get aggressive without coming to the net. But I thought that Jack was using the spin more. I just thought a lot of ball movement, either the kick this way or the slice that way. Even in the deuce court, the guy was hitting the backhand return way from the left side of the court.
But for his first serve percentage was only about 60%, but for the match, he was over 80% first serve points won. So in your mind, do you then take some pace off the first serve even more? No, you're shaking your head already.
No, if you're winning 80% of the points when you get your first serve in, you're good to go. You will win most. You will maybe lose your serve once, which is pretty much what happened, right?
It was always going to be very interesting, the serve of Jack Draper, especially if there's any residual difficulties with the arm, the placement of it, and using that lefty serve against somewhat of an unknown quantity of someone who's 209 in the world.
That was the tricky part. You don't know the guy. I mean, you can Google, YouTube, whatever, but you never get the feel for it until you play them. And then the guy was really, hitting those forehand down the line that were like hooking in. Even if Jack covered the line, he couldn't get there. So I think he was playing well above his rankings. If the guy plays like this, he's top 100, top 50 maybe. But today, so Jack had to deal with that, playing with somebody he'd never seen before who's playing well above his station, so to speak.
We might look back on this as being a really good thing that he faced someone like Gomez in the first round, should he go on a deep run here.
You can look at it in however positive way you want to, but a win's a win and you're through to the second round. I think that's kind of ultimately the only thing you need to be focusing on. And for him and his team, it will just be recovery now until the next one, and you just keep going.
Exactly, getting the win and being healthy.
And recovering, getting the recovery now, and seeing how the body holds up.
Piece of cake.
And off you go again.
4 sets, it's okay. You should be all right. It was physical, but not horrible. Weather a little warmer than you want, but piece of cake.
But he got it done. And that was the main thing. Jack Draper got it done. And he is through to the second round.